Hello everyone, welcome back to CrossSlashGame. It's been about 3 weeks since my last video, and yeah, life simply took over, but I'm back now, and I wanted to do a short video regarding the PS5 reveal and the PS5 itself. So please stay tuned to my thoughts and feelings around it, and yeah, enjoy. So I know I'm a little late to the party. PS5 reveal has happened, yeah, pretty much 3 weeks, nearly 4 weeks ago now, I think. And I've pretty much just intentionally thought, you know what, this is a good time to do a video a month later, because it means that there's more information that keeps coming out, and you know, you're kind of a little bit more informed, I'd say, around what's going on. And after the announcement, there's always the interviews that happen. So I thought this would be a great time to do a small video around the PS5. Regarding the event itself, I thought it was, you know, I guess an 8 out of 10. It was just games, which is great. You know, it's kind of what I want out of the console anyway. It's why I have a PlayStation or I have any other console. It's because of the games. Don't like all the talking in between. It's just show me what you got, show me what you're bringing to the table, and show me why I should buy your console. I think PS5 did a good job of it, okay, but I also think that the PS5 has a small mountain hill to climb, because it needs to show that it also cares about us, the gamers who have a PS4. That's my opinion anyway. So the one thing that I was obviously happy to know was the fact that it will play not all PS4 titles out of the gate, but some. Well, I don't know what the percentage will be, but I think that that's a good move. Okay, historically, the new installment, the new PlayStation, never plays the games from the PlayStation before it. I know there's been some instances between the PS1 and the PS2, and you know, and PS2 to the PS3, I think, or PS1 to PS3 as well. But ever since the PS, you know, it's not been something that you could really rely on. And I'm not the type of guy that will really or care that much about it at the time with the previous installments. But now I do care. And the reason for that is because my life is completely changed as to what I was back when I had a PS1 or PS2. Back then I had all the time to play the games. So I was always really on top of all games I wanted to play. Now, I feel like there's just I'm oversaturated. I got so many games I want to play and not enough time to play them, right? And now with a PlayStation 5 coming out, I feel like I still got so many games on my PS4 to play, okay? And if I can play them on my PS5, yeah, sure, I'll trade my PS4 in and get a PS5 out gate, pay the extra money, whatever that may be, because I'll still be able to, it won't alienate my experience with the PS4, because I'll be able to continue that going forward. Obviously, I don't know if that's going to affect all the games I have, but I will obviously. That will be one of my selling points, I think, out the gate. If I was to get a PS5, I would like to know that I can play the remainder of my PS4 games on my PS5. I know that Sony said that they don't have any interest in making PS5 games that work on a PS4, because ultimately, I agree. If the PS4 games will work on a PS5, why don't just buy a PS5, I guess, for the PS5 games that are going to come out, and that's it. I don't get me wrong, there's obviously the price issue that we will talk about, but for me, the biggest point at this moment in time on whether I will get a PS5 out the gate, irrespective of the price, is if I can continue to play PS4 games on it. Okay. We'll leave the price for now, but we'll catch up on that a bit later. But that I just wanted to put that for the forefront, because it's my story. It's how I would get a PS5 at this point in time. Okay, skipping to obviously the event, and you know, obviously I did enjoy it. Games left, right, and centre, brilliant, well done. Some I'm interested in, some I'm not at all. Obviously Horizon looked beautiful. Spider-Man Miles Morales looked beautiful. I'm a sucker for Gran Turismo as well. Looked beautiful. I really kind of looked at those games because that's what I'm used to seeing. I understand there is a visual tone. There is a significant visual jump between the PS4 and the PS5. It's obviously there. That it's just in the detail. Okay, you can see a lot more now. Everything is so crisp and so clean. Aesthetics, ray tracing, all these things that will now work on a PS5 a lot better than they did on the PS4. And the level of detail is something that actually your eyes just hurt by looking at a TV sometimes. But I also appreciate that Sony has hit one point, and it's not all about all the looks. Oh, look at how great this looks. I think that the PS5, what Mark Cerny is trying to really bring out the gate is that now it's all about the experience. It's about you, the player, and the experience you have with the product. Traditionally, consumers don't care how a product works as long as it works, right? We know what a PlayStation does. From the PS1 all the way to the PS4, we know what a PlayStation does to play video games. We can see the significant increases, the transitions in graphics and power, and what can and can't be done in video games. We can see that. It's just part of the experience overall as a package. It's not something that I go and talk to my friends a lot of times about the specs and all that, because I personally don't care. But there are certain things that bug me with my PS4, as an example, that I really don't want it to be the case with the PS5, because that will be really annoying. As an example, the fan. Okay, the fan noise. Last of Us Part 2 came out, and there's threads and threads of how the fan is like a jet engine on the PS4, PS4 Pro, and it's like, it is annoying. It's annoying. Okay, I have kids as well. I have to put headphones on to play video games, so the fan probably doesn't even annoy me too much during the night, but it annoys them because they're asleep. But it is that loud. It is true, it is that loud. So the first expectation is the PS5 can't have that issue. Maybe that's the real reason why it's so big. It's got more fans than it needs to, just to make sure that it cools the beast down, just to make sure that it doesn't make all that noise. But little things like that, I think that what Sony's trying to do is innovate on a technological standpoint where it influences your experience as a player, okay? Where things that were there that annoyed you no longer will annoy you. Loading times, the whole SSD thing, it's a super fast SSD, it does all this, that and the other, it's custom made for the PS5, brilliant. Yeah, sure, gold star. I know PCs have super fast SSDs and have had super fast SSDs for God knows how long. It's not about that argument, but a console in itself never has. So, or has had in the past super fast. So it's new news for a console. I'm sure Xbox will have its own SSD and it's going to be super fast as well. And loading times will probably, hopefully, be a thing of the past. They won't exist anymore. But that is part of the experience. Okay, waiting for a screen to load, it does detract from your experience when you're playing a video game. So if they can fix that, if they can do something, the technology now allows for that never to happen again. Brilliant. Okay, so Sony had to obviously bring to the table what they're trying to do with the new PlayStation. I think that even shows in the look of it, the design. It is for once very much like the PlayStations you see, like the fake ones. They look like jet engine, like sort of spaceships and stuff. And I think for the first time, they actually look the part. It shows that Sony's trying to portray a different image, a cleaner image, I guess. Just something. I think if it ever was for the players, now it's even more for the players. I don't know. I get that impression just by looking at it. Slick. I hear it's big, obviously, by the dimensions that they've released. It's a big console, bigger than the Xbox Series X. But I'm sure there's reasons behind that. They didn't show the back of the PlayStation 5, so I'm assuming there's news there to still be delivered. Purposefully, they didn't show any part of the back end of the PS5. We don't know what ports is back there. Well, yeah, but obviously there's going to be a power port, I'm sure, power cord. But there's gonna be some more stuff hopefully back there that we'll be happy about, or maybe they're not showing because there's really nothing back there. So they don't want anyone to start raising questions and start complaining out the gate. Oh, where's the optical input or output? Where's this? Where's that? And so it's best to just leave it for now. The one thing that really did, and I guess it goes back to how Sony are thinking about the future. One thing that I really enjoyed was the digital console, the digital version. Okay, now this is, in my opinion, again, this is how you approach the future. Okay, the Sony knows it's not going to be a console that everyone's gonna want or be able to have, or parts of the world where the internet is not strong enough, not quick enough. You're not going to have a digital console because your internet can't support it. So Sony knows this, okay, but they didn't do what they're not forcing it on you. They're not saying this is a new PS5, bam, digital only, okay. Like what? And again, Xbox players don't take this the wrong way, but this is where Microsoft went wrong. When in the last generation, when they tried to implement the DRM thing, but that's when you're trying to enforce something on the players, it's just gonna backlash. Of course it is, and straight away they lost the race at that particular point. As soon as they did that, it completely wiped the floor. So Sony didn't even need to do much, to be fair. But this time around it's actually flipped over. Sony's come out first. Microsoft's got another announcement, has got some showings to do coming up, so they can do whatever they want really. That could play on the strengths and weaknesses of the PlayStation 5, so sure, that by all means. But what Sony have done is they've invested time into giving players a choice. Okay, so here you are. Here's the digital version. If you don't care much to having, CD cases anymore, buying Blu-rays anymore and whatnot, here, take this one. You just download it straight to your PlayStation, go to work, come back, it's ready to play. Brilliant. Okay, it will take space off your hard drive, so you might need to spend a bit more money, depending on what size hard drive they put in there, but something tells me it's not going to be that much bigger than the base PS5, so we don't know. Okay, it's all speculative at this point. Maybe the digital version will have a bigger hard drive, or not hard drive, SSD, to accommodate the fact that it's a digital version, but it's all speculation at this point. But giving players that choice is brilliant. They probably will lose money on it. I have a feeling, giving choice from the gate makes any company half the time lose money, because they'll have to now judge, maybe at first week, how many digital versions they should have, and how many hard, like with discs, versions they should have out there to sell, which ones are selling better, and what's appropriate. Maybe these past COVID lock-in months we've had show that there is a high demand for digital versions of a PlayStation 5, but something tells me that it wasn't this data from the past 3 months that made this happen. It's data from way before that let Sony make that decision. So I'm really happy to see it. Not for me, again, but I'm really happy it's there, because that's how you influence people. Okay, you influence the public by, here, look at this, and maybe it's for you, maybe it isn't, but I'm telling you now, this is what the future will be like. And I agree, it's cheaper making digital. You don't need to now copy games onto Blu-rays and make the Blu-rays and make the cases, and get factories to manufacture all this, get it all copied, all done, shipped, and that will be a thing of the past. It will be, and I don't particularly care for that future, but I know it's coming. Okay, but for now, the transition is probably a good 10 years, I would say, and I think that's why Sony has 2 PlayStations, because they know that, here you go, there's this. Use this, and we know that with the disc-based one, it's again gonna influence sales of 4K Blu-ray, like it did with the previous Blu-ray. It was the PlayStation. It wasn't the Sony Blu-ray players. Everyone had a PlayStation at home. If you have a PlayStation at home, you don't need to buy a Blu-ray player. Okay, and that's most, and if anything, most cases they'll probably have both, one for the living room and the kids have a PlayStation in their room. So, but half the time, if it's me, my house, I don't have a Blu-ray player because my PlayStation is a Blu-ray player. So the same will happen with the PS5, and it will drive the sales of movies and so on 4K Blu-rays. I wholeheartedly believe that because there are a lot of people like me who are not very inclined into the digital side. Netflix and Amazon, great services. Yeah, sure, it's got the series and there's certain things I still buy on CD or Blu-ray, and so I'll still continue to do so going forward when the PS5 comes out. If the consumers were, if the other side of the world were all caught up with their internet speeds, maybe it would just be a digital version. Who knows? But both are out. Good stuff. Happy with that. Touch on the games. So the showing showed lots of games, and like I mentioned earlier, Horizon, Spider-Man, Gran Turismo, among all the others. I think that's a good way of, here's all the games, and here's where you're going to play it on. Okay, and I think that's brilliant. It shows that it's not going to be kind of like the PS4 when it came out, a handful of games, and they play really well, don't they? Brilliant. You're gonna have to wait a little bit longer for all the other features and so on, and all the other games to come out. But I think with this, they're already showing the commitment to the console straight out the gate. The developers are all working hard to get these games on the PS5 as quickly as possible between the release date in 2020 into the first half of 2021. So, yeah, games, well done. The price, so obviously I mentioned that we would come back to that, and I think that as far as the price, this is where we don't know what's going to happen. Now, sure, I'm in a position to buy a PS5. Not many people are, and £600. God, hope not. I hope it's. I couldn't justify that to my wife, but eventually I will get it. Maybe not out of the gate. Eventually I will get it. But I also kind of thought to myself, look, I can see the technology and what's in this console. Generally, the base PS5 will come out. This is how much it costs. It's generally a bloated price, always a bit expensive. Okay, the PS4 was marketed very well when it came out, but the PS5, I don't know if it's going to be as cheap as the PS4 was when it came out. Something tells me we're looking at £499, and that's probably going to translate to about $549 in dollars. It's a lot of money. Okay, maybe I'm wrong, and the PlayStation's going to completely undercut the Xbox all the way around because they haven't announced their price yet. Something tells me the next announcements from Microsoft will include the price of the Series X, and that means that then will Sony and Xbox, who will be making a loss on their consoles out the gate. It's hard to tell, if Sony, if Microsoft comes out and says, here's $499 for your Series X, it's a beast, and it is. Specs wise, it's actually more powerful than the PlayStation 5. So one would, common sense would dictate it should be more expensive than PS5. But Sony's, so as far as everything that's happened so far, Xbox come out at the Game Awards, here's the Series X, brilliant, no price. Sony's now come out, here's the PS5, no price. Microsoft will now come out, here's Series X, here's all these games, and bow, here's the price. What's going to happen is Sony will then have to make a decision, okay? And this decision generally influences consumers and how they think about the console, how they think about Sony in general, how they think about Microsoft in general, because the price is a big thing. There's a fine line between feeling like it's overpriced or you're being ripped off almost, for these machines. But obviously, if you're a consumer like myself, who mainly all the games that I enjoy are on PlayStation, I might go, it's too expensive. I'll just wait a couple of years. It's probably the easiest thing to do, right? But I also bought the PS4 out the gate. Maybe I don't know what's going to happen with the PS5. It really does depend on the price, and it really does depend if I can convince my wife. But ultimately, Sony may undercut the Xbox to have a swinging start when it gets released. So they'll be like, "Oh, what Xbox said is $500? Okay, well here's $450." Pow. I don't think that's going to happen. Maybe they come out at the same price. Maybe. And then the consumer will make the decision. Okay. I have a feeling there's lots of people that have both consoles. Some people that only have Sony PlayStations. Some people only have Microsoft's, and some people who haven't. I'm not talking about Nintendo's because they're not releasing a new Switch or anything at the moment. But I feel that Sony might just pull the hat out of the bag again on this one. I think so. Okay, I think the way they're showing, they're being very transparent about the console itself, and when talking about price, they talk about the value of what's there instead of what you're gonna pay for. So there is a lot. I think it is an expensive machine. I just don't know if they're gonna be able to justify £600 if it comes to that. Like £600. It's the value. This is a great machine. You'll get your money's worth. I don't know how you sell that to people. Okay, so we'll see. Something tells me Microsoft will bring out the price, like I said, and then Sony will just go slightly cheaper. Maybe I don't know, or maybe they'll be more expensive, and they'll be really confident in their message so far, and which shows that they think that their consumers are just going to go, you know what, we'll still buy the PlayStation 5. So we'll see. I think that there's a lot going on as well as around the future of gaming, and what gaming means to the players at the moment. Between all the genres, I think that, like I said earlier, I think Sony are trying to really showcase what the PlayStation 5 will do, and how the future, the future, they're trying to portray a future for you, which shows super fast loading times, and ray tracing working to the best effect, and obviously stories, which I think is very important. Their games, they're all mainly story based. Okay, is an experience at all times. The Last of Us Part 2 being the latest example. I know there's a lot of whole kerfuffle with the Metacritic and all that. I'm just ignoring all that anyway because I know it's going to be a good game. But they're promising more of the same, which is what they did really well on the PS4, and they're promising more of the same. And why wouldn't I want that? Sure, I've enjoyed it so far. Yeah, give me more. Sure. Final Fantasy this year alone shows what Sony has done. That just blowing. It's just exploding out there. Soccer Punch and their latest game as well, Ghost of Tsushima, Neo 2, Final Fantasy 7 Remake, Last of Us Part 2. Obviously, you can play Cyberpunk 2077, which probably be on both consoles, but it's still there. I don't know. My opinion again. It will really just depend on the price now. So looking forward to see what these consoles are going to cost. Maybe I will buy an Xbox Series X as well in the future down the line when things kind of cool down a bit. Like I said, most of the games I want to play are on a PlayStation, so it's more than likely I will get a PS5 first, just when. And looking forward to the games that were announced as well. Maybe half of them won't even make it, but who knows. So we'll see what happens there. But in the meantime, guys, I hope you enjoyed my video. Follow me on Instagram, and also please like, share and subscribe. Leave a comment below about your thoughts. I'm eager to obviously have a discussion at some point. I know I don't have many followers at the moment on my channel, but hopefully that will change. Until then, happy gaming, and stay tuned to CrossSlashGame. Thanks guys, take care.